This is not a speech. This is a reckoning. I'm here to tell you that you have everything you need right here, right now, in this very moment. Use it, capitalize it, and leverage it. History was never written by people who waited for better circumstances. You have the power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, you'll find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Van Gogh had nothing except his paintbrush and his visions. And guess what? Now his visions hang on Earth's most greatest of museums. A more contemporary example, Kanye West started with almost nothing, had a dream, had visions. What he had was a beat machine and a dream, and he changed music. Oprah was born into poverty, but she refused to stay there. And Napoleon, he had no royal blood, yet he crowned himself emperor. They didn't wait. But you, how long are you going to wait? How long will you stay trapped in guilt, trapped in comparisons, trapped in the illusion that you need more before you even start? How long will you let social media dictate your worth? Tell me this. How long will you measure your worth with somebody else's life, somebody else's bank balance, someone else's carefully created lie? Is what you have not enough? Whatever it is, your voice, your thoughts, the phone that you have, the shitty phone that you have. I think the truth is, whatever you have is enough, is more than enough. And the only question is, will you ever use it? And for what? Why do we want to climb this economic ladder? Why? In India, men are forced, I would say, by society to chase higher packages, a better degree, higher salaries, forced to sacrifice life for the sake of society, to be relevant in society, to showcase a life of illusion. And then what happens? They end up missing their father's last rites. So did my brother. They end up watching their closest people, even while they are with them, because the mind is already so frustrated with everything that's going on. The illusion that we are living in. It's as though you live years away from your parents, from your loved ones, your dogs. You never get to love them. You never really get to spend time with them. You never really have the time to understand them in order to cultivate a functional family. You live in distress, stress, tension, created tension, unnecessary stress. It's as though, a kid goes outside, abroad, or wherever he has to go to work, and then comes back home and finds that home is not really home anymore. Tell me this, who are we living for? Are we living for the society, or are we living for ourselves? I say you abandon these thoughts of being socially relevant. Some societal checklist that tells you who you should be, how much you should earn, when you should marry, when you should have kids, and when you should settle down. Who made these rules? Who benefits from them? Not you. The question is, what do you actually need? A life lived in curiosity, maybe? A life dedicated to an interest, any subject. It could be anything. Either being a cobbler, or it could be you want to be a carpenter. You want to excel in corporate, maybe. You want to be the best engineer out there. Or try your best to make something that benefits people. It's all about your interest, not what the society is telling you. There's a big difference between societal interest and your own private interest. You don't need an MBA degree in order to be accepted in society, or to have a... I mean, what kind of life is that? I mean, it's a joke. One must... I say one must do something that helps people, not just ourselves. It's a very selfish thing. Now let's talk about something deeper, something rotting beneath the surface. How do we see each other? Men, women, lovers, strangers, friends. Half of this generation is looking for casual hookups, looking for fun, looking for distractions. And what does that lead to? Dysfunctional families, temporary relationships, temporary pleasures, and permanent guilt. A man, a real man, does not need endless pleasures or endless options. He needs perhaps one woman who is loyal to him, who builds with him. And a woman, the leader of the house in India, doesn't need a weak man who crumbles under pressure. She needs a man who stands tall beside her, not above her, not beneath her, but with her. And times have changed. Men versus women, it's not about that. It's about individual people. Come on, guys. It's about you and I. How we treat each other. Money is never the foundation for a strong relationship. Loyalty is. Respect is. Our shared vision is. And yet, we're out here auditioning for each other, showcasing the best version of ourselves on social media, hesitating to show even a reflection of who we really are. Have you ever posted a bad photo of yours? I'm not talking about funny pictures. I'm talking about a picture where you look the way you look. I mean, I think that this is why marriages are failing. This is why society is crumbling. And this is why people are lonelier than ever, even when they are with the person that they most love. You can be in a room filled with 50, 100 people and yet feel alone. You can be with somebody who you consider to be the closest. And yet, if the relationship is built on lies, good luck to you then. I think it's also because we have turned love into a transaction. So tell me, what are we really looking for? And beyond relationships, beyond careers, beyond all of that, how do we treat our peers? How do we treat our parents? How do we treat the animals that live beside us? That tells a lot about us. If you really observe, you will see that the way we treat others is exactly the way we treat ourselves. Unknowingly, but yes. When you look at an animal, like really, you'll see a life brimming with innocence. When you look at a tree, you wouldn't just see the wood. You'll see that is the foundation of our existence. And when you begin to observe these things, something shifts, something changes forever. Food is no longer about taste anymore. Love is no longer about possession. And success is no longer about money. There are levels to observation, levels to perception, levels to consciousness. And once you wake up, you stop being a part of a crowd that is lost. Herd mentality ends there. And that day, you'll stop making trending choices. You see the world, you feel the world, and you break from it. So tell me, are you awake or are you still dreaming? I know most of you are smarter than me. Most of you have more capabilities than I ever can even imagine. Most of you have a talent the world is yet to witness. Don't hide them. Work on them. Practice them. And then showcase it to the world. Your gifts may not be refined. They may need work. But you already know what they are. What you need to figure out is where you can use them. Where is the platform where your voice, your art, your talent can be seen? Because if you don't use them, they'll die. It'll be the death of the artist. Because you believed that the society wanted you to be some way. And all your life you tried so hard to be a part of it. To be a part of that relevant society. where illusions are appreciated. Don't let them die with you, bring them alive. Try your hardest every single day, even when you see no rewards coming in. That is the only thing you and I can do in order to thrive in a world where the powerful ones use power to dominate the existence of a revolution. Over the time I have been on YouTube, I've created over hundreds of videos. None of them have reached even a 5K mark. 100 plus videos. I've given everything I have to them. And yet I see no results. But that doesn't stop me. And it will never stop me. Because I know I'm bringing something new. I'm not a copy of a copy of a copy. I just come here to show up every single day. Every single time. Even on my worst of days. And showing up is the least we can do as human beings. Trying, practicing a new skill, a skill that we are interested in. That's the only thing we can do as human beings. Practice. As artists, life is difficult, but we have to show up anyway. You ready to show up? Honor, valor, honesty, an eye for truth. It is what separates us from chaos. Without them, what are we? Just wild creatures roaming around the world, fucking around, chasing pleasure, avoiding responsibilities, and calling it freedom. Freedom. Real freedom. It isn't about doing whatever you want, whenever you want. It's about knowing when to stop. It's about knowing when to say no. It's about knowing just because you can, that you should. And perhaps that's why we admire the greats of history. Maybe that's why we have respect for our parents and grandparents, if we have any. They carried a discipline that most people have forgotten today because they understood something that most of us don't. Freedom is a double-edged sword. If used wisely, it builds empires. If misused, it creates chaos.
You see, we all have things we hide. Parts of ourselves we don't dare look at. We bury them so deep we almost believe they're not there. But they are. And sometimes it feels like they're all I can see. There's this weight, like I've been carrying a shadow on my back. It whispers to me, tells me things I don't want to hear. But I can't ignore it anymore. It tells me I'm not enough, that I've failed in ways I can't fix, that I've lost pieces of myself that I can never get back. And maybe that's true. But I need to believe that I can still find a way to make sense of it all. That if I'm honest, if I let the truth bleed out, it won't destroy me. There's a story I heard once about a man who walked with a limp his whole life. He wasn't born that way, but one night, in the darkness, he fell into a deep pit, breaking his leg. He clawed his way out, but when he did, he found that he couldn't walk the same. For years he cursed that limb, blamed it for everything that went wrong, for every missed opportunity, every lost moment. He let it twist his mind and darken his heart. But one day, while sitting by the side of the road, he met a child. The child asked why he walked with a limp, and the man, tired of his own story, simply said, "It's just who I am now." The child looked up at him with a kind of innocent wisdom and said, "But if you hadn't fallen, you wouldn't be here now. You'd be somewhere else, doing something else. I think you're stronger because you made it out." And in that moment, the man realized it wasn't the limb that had broken him. It was the belief that his pain had made him less. He'd spent so long trying to hide his wounds that he never saw what they could have become if he let them. So, maybe I'm not there yet. Maybe I'm still learning to walk with my own limp. But I'm starting to see that even if I'm not whole, I'm still here. And maybe that's enough to keep trying.